Today's episode of Poets at War is sponsored by the following.
Hello, I'm Sarah Levesque, Editor-in-Chief of Logo Sophia magazine. I would like to invite you to explore our Pilgrim's Journal of Life, Love, and Literature, both in visual format and in podcast format. Our goal is to help bridge the gaps between different Christian denominations and traditions. Please visit our website at logosophiamag.com to read or listen to stories, articles, poetry, and more, all for free. We look forward to journeying with you.
We set everything up and it looked good, but we just can't quite execute yet. So we're just going to go audio.
Okay.
So, yeah, you said broken foot.
Yep. And, so that means that Joshua is basically doing everything. His jobs and my jobs and
Not
all
everything.
the jobs.
Not everything. You still, order us food when we need to. You make sure that I have a meal plan. You, definitely are there helping me still.
Yes, just about 87% less than I usually do.
I'd say probably 60% less. You still help me a lot more than you might realize. But yeah, so you're on Poets at War. It's been a long time coming.
I am. It has. So, I've been wanting to do this because your show seems pretty popular. People like it, and you're my husband, so I like you. And you get very interesting people on here.
By interesting, do you mean that they would drive you crazy like I drive you crazy?
No, I mean, interesting, well, some of them, yes.
Some of y'all are crazy.
And some of them, by interesting, I just mean, sort of high-profile people that I wouldn't necessarily, automatically think that people, normal folks like us would be socializing with. And I guess this is, it's a professional production, sure. But also, I don't know. We just seem like we're too regular for that.
We're too regular? You and me?
Yeah.
I mean, we have a house with this crazy office that I want to show you guys more of, but apparently cameras want to not be working properly and all kinds of other stuff. But, I don't know that we're normal. You may feel like you're normal, and I'm the crazy one.
Which is funny you mention that, because I've never been the normal one in my whole life.
Care to explain a little more to the people?
Explain.
Got some stories to tell of your craziness?
But then, when I tell my story of, craziness to someone, when I hear it out loud, it's just oh, I guess that wasn't really that weird to anybody but me.
So, what?
Well, staying up till 1:30 in the morning, eating an entire, party-sized bag of M&M with my best friend, but only the blue ones.
And
then having weird sleep-deprived hallucination conversations about getting probed by blue aliens.
Yeah. Not that weird. I
No.
guess you're right.
No, it's not.
But how are you an artist or artist adjacent? Explain to people what it is you do that people would consider artistic.
Well, I suppose anymore, nothing.
That's not true.
Well, I mean, I don't know. What people would consider to be artistic is...
What do you consider to be artistic that you do? I'll tell you something that I consider.
Yeah.
Well, you're just out there right now with an office coloring book, enjoying that. That's artistic. A lot of people wouldn't say so, but I would, definitely. Because you spend time on that. You try to make these things look good. And then, you're a great cook. You do some cool stuff with the cooking. You make the house look nice. You make sure it's functional and pretty. You do great with yourself. You look great, all the time. Really, truly. Like, you do a great job. And see, these are the things that, like, people discount in artistry, but you are an artist, especially with our children and the way you raise them. It is nothing short of artistry, the raising of our children that you do.
Oh, well, thank you. That's nice.
Mm-hmm. So, what is it like being married to a working artist?
Crazy, wild. But then again, like, if you say this stuff out loud to people, it, like, sounds pretty normal, I guess. Maybe. Well, now, post medical apocalypse, I guess, I suppose our life isn't that different than a lot of people's out there. But before that, I would say we were pretty different.
So what changed? Why are we normal now in your estimation?
Because a lot of people work remotely now. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily that the work that you do is normal or that everybody's doing it. It's just that, like, a lot of different positions for employment that always could have been more productive to be remote, people actually find that to be true now.
Yeah, this is true, but also, like, that's not just employment. Like, we still have, a pretty crazy life. We just don't travel as much.
Yeah.
We're gonna travel more when we have the money to do so, but it's obvious God's planted us here to do some things. Mm-hmm. And so, like, Poets at War has been a big one, and it's been a big help to me, to encourage me, talking to some of my heroes, quite frankly. I'm talking with Marcus Pittman tonight. Talked with Phil Lawler, talked with, a lot of these guys, and then a lot of our friends, too, and being able to kind of promote them to a little wider audience as things have grown. It's been really fun, but at the same time, I know, like, your support of my emotional ups and downs is probably the weirdest thing that we have to deal with on a regular basis, and at least you have to deal with. Let's put it that way.
Well, that is true. Yes, that's definitely true. So
I guess part advice to other people, part you telling stories. What's the deal with this weird guy and and being married to the weird guy who wears a rainbow kilt and has a top hat and all this kind of stuff? Like, what's the skinny, and what would you say to people with their other kilted, top hatted husbands?
Well, I don't know. Like, to me, it just seems like normal life.
Don't bump this.
Sorry, I was doing something weird. Okay. Yeah, I mean, to me, it seems just like normal life. But, like, that's probably because it's similar to how my life was before. Before I got married to you as well. So, I'm used to being the sidekick of someone who is extremely passionate. Yeah, that I don't think that really answers the questions at all, but I'm not really sure.
Okay, let's ask the question then. How do I deal with my crazy, ridiculous boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse whose like life's work and mission is to complete artistic expressions of some sort?
So I would say to like get yourself at peace with I guess the facts that sometimes being this person's loving like support system means like standing up for them in awkward situations they might get in with other people, or telling them, yeah, it's fine, you're doing the right thing, don't worry what anybody else is saying. But also sometimes it includes you being the realistic one with a little more foresight to say stuff that they don't want to hear, like, this isn't working, or this is going to take a lot longer than you want it to, or I'm sorry, but this other thing is more important currently than this. I mean, to me, I don't feel like there's a lot of that. I feel like you have to mostly just be the, probably anyway, only person that is always gonna say yes, kind of. Like, I don't really know how to explain that in understandable terms.
I think it's understandable.
But, like, don't let yourselves get, like, all destitute and whatever. I guess I'm saying, as the person who's trying to, like, the person that's trying to do, like, art as their calling and passion and also make money at it, you have to, like, be the support system. You have to be, like, willing to have the sacrifices, but also you have to tell them, like, you also have to be willing to be like, okay, well, you've been trying it this way for this long and it's not working, so we have to do something else.
And see, you almost never get to that point with me because I'm always trying something different every week.
Well, yes, that's the case. Well, you just have to know the personality of your person, because, like, not every artist type person is like Joshua, who's, like, doing this and that and this and that and this and that, and, like, doesn't settle on a thing to try. Most of the time, I think, at least from what I've noticed, there's, like, a common personality type in the artist genre is, like, the opposite, really. Like, just trying to drag down the same old path for decades and it's not going anywhere. But they won't try something different.
So what's the problem with the opposite? Like, what have you seen in my personality type where I can't stand my ground on anything that I create sometimes, obviously things like Poets at War I've obviously stood on and I've gotten better at that over time, but like what's been your experience through that? From the outside looking in.
Well, basically, like, if it's more than just, like, calling and lifelong passion. By more than that, I mean, like, you actually want to make money, too. Having a bunch of different projects that don't connect to each other at all, that all take 100% effort, it just isn't going to work. And that type of person needs someone to tell them that's not going to work.
Sometimes they need someone to pick something for them.
Yeah. And not that, like, I'm not saying that every person who is a passionate artistic person has to want to make money with it. I don't even think that you have to want to make money with it. That just so happens to be what you're interested in doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I'm saying only applies to the part of, like, having an artistic person with a sporadic personality that also wants to make money doing it.
Right.
It doesn't really apply to someone who is just letting it consume the rest of their life that's not dedicated to responsibility. That's different. I wouldn't say that the things I'm saying really apply to someone who has, like, a person who's passionate for, like, artistic ventures, but they're just, like, a hobby. Not that it just being a hobby means that you have less passion. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but it makes sense to me.
No, I see what you're saying. So here's what I'm wondering. We've said a lot about artistic people, but one of the big things that I've learned from you in our marriage is that, and I've come to agree with you, the idea of artistic people is 98% baloney. The idea that it's a group of people separate from the world, like this specialty, or group of people that are different from everyone else and have different insight and whatever else. It's partially true, but very, very small amount compared to the way especially artistic people tend to frame themselves.
Yeah, that's why a few questions ago I said that the answer depends on what people think by artistic. Because personally, I think that, like, everybody, and I mean everybody, is creative. It's just that when you look at what someone's, like, particular passion may be, it's not, like, sometimes you can't always see another type of creativity as also creative. Like, people who are really deep into mathematics, like, that's something that's creative. Definitely. It's just, I don't know. I guess I'm just saying that I agree with you, and it depends on what you mean by artistic, because it's really, I think, just about making things that are beautiful, and I think any person with any passionate interest can make something beautiful, even, if that's the greatest math book ever, or a interestly ornamented lawn, or pizzas. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. So we have a lot of friends in the Brood. You've been a part of the Brood for a little while now, and
as long as it's existed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of been our little community. And I've tried to move it to Discord. I've tried to move it here. I've tried to move it there, and it just doesn't want to move. It wants to stay on Facebook Messenger. What are your thoughts regarding the future of the Brood and what you'd like to see in it? And if you have any shout-outs for anybody on there, I don't know.
Well, good job to everybody who's been on the show so far. And if you're in there, whether you're a long-term member or you just recently came to us, get your appointment scheduled to get on the show. Okay, thanks. you can text Joshua. You probably know his number already.
If you don't, you can find it on my website. If you can't find that, you can just Facebook message me, whatever, man.
Yes. As far as like any future things, I don't really know. I think we give each other good advice and send each other pretty great memes and music and really just share life together pretty good for people who are physically nowhere near each other. And I think that's a pretty classic thing that everybody wants and maybe not a lot of people have. So I don't really know what we could do better than that.
Yeah, if anyone wants to join the brood, just hit me up on Facebook Messenger, and I will work on getting you in there. So, do you want to tell them how we started the brood? Do you remember, or do I need to go back for you, rewind for you?
Actually, you can tell that story because I don't have any idea.
We started it as a Facebook Messenger group for Family Productions for the vlogs that we were doing. And so we were sending those out directly to people as opposed to, always focusing on the algorithms and everything to get it to people. We had people who wanted to directly sign up to watch the vlogs go there. And it was Family Studios group, fan group or whatever. And then it morphed into the brood when I think I renamed it something else in the interim, but eventually Michael Bush renamed it the Brood of Writers, and then it became the Brood and currently Wonder Brood, et cetera, et cetera. So we were doing vlogs for a little while, and you were really enjoying that. That was something artistic that we were doing.
Fun.
Do you want to do it again?
I realized, yes, I do. But also, I realized today why I like that so much. Because it's kind of like the app Marco Polo. Not sponsored, but wish we were. It's the greatest app ever. Yeah, so that's why I liked vlogs so much, because I felt like I was always carrying around somebody to chat with. Because back when Joshua was having conventional employment, I was just hanging out with our baby at the time, Hazel, who's 4 now. And so we would just be out about town and living our lives, and so like my only person to talk to was a baby, which is not bad. I love that. But like taking out the phone to do a vlog was like having other buddies going along with us, which I'm all about.
And that was great, having the real-time feedback after we'd upload a vlog at the end of the day. That's something I'd like to do for my work, too, since I'm not being, overseen by someone who doesn't want me using my phone the entirety of my, whatever. That sort of nonsense. So I want to do more vlogs stuff, even just in regard to, like, all the stuff around my office and the things that I'm working on a daily basis, and mix that in with the family stuff, and hopefully we can get something good. I guess we're restarting the vlogs at some point. We'll figure that out. We'll talk off the podcast. So what has it been like coming from a family who you're into rock and roll, pro wrestling, some sports like figure skating and lacrosse that you were into? Sports were cool, a few other things were cool, but like when you started dating me and when you married me, there was a whole lot more fantasy and sci-fi going on. Was that a hard transition at all in any way, shape, or form for you?
No. Because I learned, like, this doesn't really have much to do with what you just said, except for there are a lot of movies in those two categories, but apparently I'm a huge nerd, and I love sci-fi and fantasy and stuff like that. I just didn't know it before.
What are some of the biggest books or movies or whatever else that we've experienced together in the sci-fi fantasy category that really strongly have influenced you in your regular life?
This one's going to be obvious. Star Wars. Not only did I not like Star Wars before, but I actively did not like it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought Star Wars fans are stinky.
That's
and
true.
Weird.
No offense to any of you. Just, yeah.
And can be kind of aggressive.
The community is cringe.
And so, yeah, I was like, I don't want to be one of those people.
And then you were.
Well, no. No. I'm still not. No, sir. At least I hope not. Maybe I am. I'm a fan, definitely. A massive fan. But I don't, like, hang out with other fans. And I don't go to cons. Not that there's anything wrong with going to cons.
You
but
want to go to
I
cons.
want to, actually. And do I want to cosplay? Oh, yes, I do. But I just mean, like, the meanness that can sometimes surround those kind of fan groups.
Yep. What else is big for you? You mentioned a sci-fi. What about fantasy?
Does Buffy count?
No. Sorry.
Okay.
Although you love Buffy.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
That's urban fantasy. I mean, like, fantasy. Dragons, swords, sorcery. There's a bunch of books behind you that you really liked.
Probably Wing Feather.
Wing Feather Saga?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
I mean, Narnia's awesome. I mean, hits all the, good points, makes you cry, makes you feel all the feelings. And I know it's very important to you.
And
It's
you
very
like the Lord of
important
the
to
Rings
me.
films.
It's very important to us, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like as far as me personally, probably just me not thinking about anybody else or their attachments, I would say Wing Feather. It's, for me, more relatable and, yeah, relatable.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, I didn't expect this to be a particularly long one. Is there anything more that you want to talk about before we wrap stuff?
Let's see.
Take your time. I can edit.
Oh, there's our baby.
Don't worry about him.
No. Unless you had any more questions for me, I don't really think so, because I'm not I'm not good with this whole not interview situation.
We're just having a
I'm
conversation.
like, just ask me the questions. But no, actually, you should know this. I'm like that in normal conversations too. I'm like, I don't know, just ask me a question. It's like I need a prompt to get going.
So do you have anything you want to plug?
No. Nope.
Okay. Not even your husband's stuff?
I mean, obviously, but you were going to do that.
I mean, no, not really. But joshuadavidling.com. There you go. Everything's there. Check it out. Thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
Everybody, be your family's bard. Do not turn to the right or to the left, and the Lord will be with you wherever you go. Join us next time in the trenches on Poets at War.
God of song, said the warrior bard, though all the world betray thee, one sword at least thy right shall guard, one faithful harp shall praise.